Yeah.
I'm just going to keep recording.
Good girl.
I love that because JC, my brain is nowhere near doing that. I love that he just is like, okay, let's do math.
Okay, here we go.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Such a good day.
I'm
Here we go. Are we ready to get started?
Mhm.
You guys good?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to A Creator-Based Life, the weekly podcast for CMH coaching. I'm here with Jacine, who is, I still have to read this thing, a business coach, a mom, a grandma, an avid runner, and Jennifer DeRoos. Say hi, Jen.
Hi.
I have to ask you to say hi. You know why? Because if you don't say anything, it keeps me on camera the whole time. But if you
Huh?
guys say hi, then it shows you. See?
Oh, I thought you had the
So
gallery view.
I wish. So
Mhm.
Jen is a coach. She's a master life coach. She's a hypnotherapist. She's a can grow almost anything gardener. And she's an amazing, amazing gifted healer. She's really good at what she does. I'm Beth, a master life coach, the author and the creator of the Creator-Based Way of Create Your One Awesome, Amazing, Perfect Life. And you know, the perfect is always in air quotes. And so we talk about that every week about creating your perfect life because it's always in transit and it's always changing and it's always morphing into the next cool thing. And it's just a joyful ride most days. So
Most.
this week we're talking about, of course, because we're talking about being blessed all month long. So this week we're talking about the power and the promise of feeling blessed and that it's a practice. It's not a permanent. It's a practice. And we're talking all about that. But I got to tell you, there are some days when I see that hashtag blessed, and I just want to light it on fire and say, go away, go away. But it's a practice, right? Every day is a little bit different. And every day we have an opportunity to choose the feeling of being blessed and to create the feelings that go with that. And so today we're just going to talk about big feelings, what we do with those big feelings, how we work with creating the feeling of gratitude, because creating gratitude is actually a transformation. It's a manipulation of energy and making it. And what do we do? How are we choosing to do this? And Jacine, you got something to say, girlfriend. I could totally tell.
I am just laughing because literally, guys, just so you know, Beth and Jen, I use them for my coaching and for hypnotherapy and all of that. And Beth and I just had a coaching session and I had some big.
Jacine's rebel was really vocal today.
Love
Big
that.
emotions going on there.
I love Jacine's rebel.
Oh,
I swear
call
she's got a
everybody
nose
liars.
piercing and a dog collar, and she is just going. That girl is tough.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so those big feelings and it is our thoughts. Even though like in that moment I was like has nothing to do with my thoughts. These are the facts. Look at this. It's
Fact.
this way
It's
because of
exactly
this.
what it is. It's a fact. Don't argue with me. It's a fact.
And here is the research to show it's a fact, right?
I can prove it.
But it is
But you know, it's that way with all of us.
yeah. Yeah.
It's the experience that we have, and then we interpret the experience.
Mhm.
You know, when I broke my toes the beginning of last month, that was an intense experience. But the story that I told myself, I recognized because I have hurt my feet before, especially in times when we're doing a lot of stuff around the house. And so the story that I told myself was different this time. Last time it was, oh, poor me. Why does this always happen? It's so mean. Why you got to be so mean that I have to hurt myself? And I got all this stuff to do and I just worked myself into the story. This time the story was by my business coach and then seconded by my girls here. Well, the Lord's going to get you to slow down one way or another, huh? And that gave an element of levity to it. And so the story was different. And so I took care of my toes and I listened to what my creator wanted me to know and took the couple of weeks rest. They're about 80% better. I don't know if I'll dance at the wedding on Saturday, but I will definitely be able to put some kind of shoe on my foot. And so it's just the stories we tell ourselves, right?
Mhm.
But we call them facts, which is so interesting. We're so involved in the emotion of the moment that feels like reality. But is it?
Well, sometimes it is because
Okay.
for me, this is one thing I've learned. So yeah, it can be real, and I'm living through real factual stuff.
Mhm.
But the power,
Like we really had a car accident
yeah. So
or two cars collided. That's
it's a fact.
truth.
And somebody
Mhm.
got hurt. That's a fact.
Right.
You know,
Right.
or the cars
Prove it in
got
a court of
damaged.
law. Yeah.
That's a fact. So it's like things that are factual, and you have to experience. You know, you don't have to, but you do experience those things. And I found that the power is, or like that you can actually change your perspective of things. Like, you know, instead of saying like, you know, the victim perspective, this happened to me and now, you know, like X, Y, and Z, and I'm never going to be healthy or whatever, things like that. You can
Mhm.
change those because your thoughts create your emotions and your feelings.
Mhm.
And so
In large measure.
if you can change your thoughts, you can change how you feel about a situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know for me, sometimes I need to feel my feelings before I can change my thoughts.
Actually, oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you have to like say, okay, where am I? You have to have a baseline.
Yeah.
You have a baseline with it. You say,
Yeah.
okay, like, yeah, I don't want this to be what I am going to be my experience.
I don't want to walk around feeling powerless.
Yeah, it
And
sucks.
so
Let's change
I'm
it.
going to sit here and feel whatever this feeling is for the next little while. And then when that's gone, I can create a new.
Yeah. Until
Yeah.
you get to where you're just like, I'm changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Mhm.
So you just have it when something does happen to you, you step into that creator role and you step into gratitude of like, yeah, this is going to be hurt. This is going to hurt. It's going to stretch me, but I'm grateful for the lessons coming out of it. I
Right.
think, you know,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
It,
I got to be a caregiver for a woman who became a quadriplegic at age 54 because of a brain tumor, not because of the brain tumor itself, but because of um, the remedy for it. So it was an experimental drug, and she signed up for it. It was supposed to be quick and really, really. And on her very last
Super
treatment,
helpful.
yeah, she became a quadriplegic,
Mm.
and so she shared.
Talk about thought work.
Yes, and
Wow.
she was a high-powered businesswoman. Very she ran things that she was actually her husband had a great job, but she had she made even more money than her husband did. And
Wow.
oh, wow.
she said that she shared that in the hospital room, she had people that were coming from her church. Her pastor had come and had prayed over her, and they were praying for this miracle that she would be able to regain and be able to walk again, and that she just needed to have enough faith. And I don't remember how many days that this took, but she said that she had the poor me and my life is ruined. What am I going to
Right.
do? And she said she had that moment in the hospital room where she took it to God and she said, I want to know, I want to know right now, like right now, tell me if I am going to be in a chair for the rest of my life,
Right.
or should I continue to have hope that I'm going to be able to walk again? I just need that direction right now. And she had clear direction that her pathway was going to be in that chair and that she was going to be able to make a huge difference in other people's lives by being in
Because
that.
of her circumstance.
Yes, because of her
Yeah.
circumstance. And she chose from that moment on, people would still come in and say, oh, but we're going to pray for you. And and she would stop them and she would say, no, That's not the miracle. The miracle is me being in this chair. And I will
Yeah.
tell you, when I came into her life as a caregiver, I had started by cleaning her house, and she lost her caregiver. And because of my grandmother's situation, I said, I'm not certified, but I know how to do a catheter. I know how to get you in a wheelchair. I know. And if you want me to do this, I'd be happy to do it. And that was the best, probably 4 years of, like, the best. It wasn't even a job. We just had so much fun. But in that, her door was a revolving door. People would stop by to cheer her up, but they
And
always,
they'd walk away better.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
because that was her choice, right?
Yeah.
That was her choice. And I'm so grateful for people in my life that have been that example for me.
Well, and the fact that she chose to be willing to accept what the Lord gave her,
Yeah,
you know, that
that's what I'm
I love that
struggling
she
with right now.
asked.
Yes.
I just love that she asked. Okay, tell me now. If this is going to be it, then I'm going to do this. And if it's not, then I'm going to do this. But just tell
Yeah.
me.
I just need to know. Yeah.
I just need to know.
Yeah.
That's incredible faith. That's so
Mhm.
cool. Betcha she had some big feelings about all of that.
Oh, huge feelings. Yeah. 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 She was a huge feeling person. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy just to think about all the, I mean, we all experience big emotional upheavals. You know, the person that you married is unfaithful. The person that you love died. The promotion that you had your whole heart set on is given to somebody else. I mean, there's just lots and lots of big, it's the only constant really is change. Lots of
right.
big feelings. I anticipate having a very big feeling watching my son get married on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that that is going to be a heart filling, really big feeling. There are lots of good ones as well as the bad ones. But what do we know about emotions themselves?
Hey, Beth,
I know.
Beth,
Okay,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
suggest you do something. I'm going to suggest you take off your filter um,
My
from your
filter.
background. Yeah, quit blurring it, because you are coming in and out. And I think that maybe it's just taking too much power having you come in and
Okay,
out.
hold on. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can.
Yeah, you're really choppy.
Yeah.
You know what? I meant to fix my extender is not extending like it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I'll bet you that's the deal. But let's just turn it off. No background. That is, I don't have a blur at all. This is just what it does. This is no background. So the other option is I can turn
We
off
can't
my
see
video.
you,
Turn
No,
off
that
my
won't.
video.
I
so we
mean,
can't. I can't see you. Can you see her,
no,
JC?
no,
Yeah, I
because
can
the
see you.
video's off. Yeah, her video's
It's
off.
because it's because I turned off my video.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you
Well,
just see my image of myself. But does
nope,
that affect things at all?
I don't even see that, Beth.
Now do
There
you
you
Oh,
see
go.
me?
that's better. Oh, and then it blurred.
Is that
It
well,
blurred.
it just naturally does that. It's not, I didn't tell it to blur. I told it just not to show anything. I mean,
Oh,
not to change my background at all. That's just normal because it's focused on me. Look, you
oh,
can see the rest of my mess. You can see my whiteboard and all of my boxes and
so
the day bed.
we can't tell. It's just
But you
blurry.
can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, we'll try.
You're still kind of
Okay.
choppy, but oh well.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to do, but
it's okay. And I interrupted you in the middle of, do you remember
we
what
were
you?
just going to talk about what we know about emotions. So
Okay.
we'll just go back to that.
Okay.
Okay. So we were talking about how the only constant is change, and change, the way we interpret change brings different emotions. One thing that I felt like we need to bring out too is emotions are quite often stored in our body from previous changes in our lives,
Hmm.
previous experiences. And so when we have that big experience today, a lot of the emotion that we might feel will be coming out already. We really don't have a lot of control over that. That's not something that your thoughts control. That's stored energy in your body that just naturally comes out. And so it's really important to learn how to work with the emotions that are coming out. And then you can work with the thoughts and kind of change the emotions going forward. But you can't think yourself out of terror. It just doesn't work.
Oh, no, no, no.
You know, if somebody dropped a bomb in my front yard,
Oh,
I'm not going to be able to think my way out of that.
no.
There's difference between the thoughts that come out of like a dangerous fight, flight or freeze situation, and then there's thoughts, emotions that come out of circular thinking and rumination. So that's more of what I
Right.
was talking about.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
and like anxiety, when we experience the emotions of anxiety, that's fear of fear, right?
Mhm.
And we can actually create a habit of anxiety, but sometimes it's a brain imbalance. So, you know,
Yeah.
we just have to kind of work through them and just see. But what else do we know about emotions themselves? We know that they can be stored in our bodies or we could create them, and both. What do you know, Jen, about
about emotions,
emotions themselves? Mhm.
their chemical reactions in your body.
Uh-huh. Do you know how they work? How the chemical
Normally, the
reaction
chemical
works?
reaction is only supposed to last about anywhere from 90 to 120 seconds. And so if you
Mm.
just kind of ride that emotion out,
Uh-huh.
your body should be able to process it out. But the problem is, you don't just have one emotion at a time. You have a party going on.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like when you're having a baby, if you've ever had a baby, when you get into the section where you go to full dilation before your baby's born, and they call it transition, and you've got 14,000 things all happening in your body at once. You're trying to push out this 10-pound watermelon, and you're trying to work with the overwhelm and all the overwhelm. It's all happening at once. You can't really sort it out. But one of the things I did learn when I had my babies was those emotions don't, I mean, those contractions don't last longer than a minute and a half.
Right.
Sometimes they have one peak, sometimes they're double peaks. Those are pretty miserable, but
Mm.
they're over in a minute and a half. And there's a little space between the time you finish it and you have the next one. And so for me, big emotions are kind of like that. Sometimes they're a double peak. Sometimes they're just a really intense peak, but they come and then they go. The double peak ones are what I was thinking of that you were talking about, Jen, where you're not just feeling one thing at once. You know,
Because just kind of going back to your point about like the other emotions that are kind of stacked and stored, those are the ones that you'll start to tell your story about.
yes. And boy, the story comes on
And so
strong.
that's when you can like, okay, wait a minute, get curious and say, can I stop the thought process of those stories so I can
Mhm.
stop this like emotional roller coaster?
Yeah.
And that's you have to be so aware to be able to do that.
And I
Yeah. But
love,
with practice,
Yeah,
yeah.
but with
yeah,
practice you can. Yeah.
you can. And I love the fact, Jen, that you're saying you can recognize it and it's okay to recognize it. And then the thing that I had to learn right after recognizing it is don't shove it under the carpet and don't
Yeah.
try to hide it. That was
You
my
have to be brave.
dealing with emotions. And it was embracing it and saying, okay, Jason, I love you and it's okay and it sucks and it's gonna suck.
So this is
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, this is terrible. I have two stuffed bears. One I call my prayer bear because I just love to snuggle with her when I say my prayers. And then the other one is just like my emotional bear, my
Mhm.
emotional teddy bear. And I just need that snuggle time to feel those emotions sometimes. And sometimes she gets squeezed.
Yeah. Well, and that allows you to be compassionate for yourself
Mhm,
and to comfort yourself when you're having those big emotions, right? That's
mhm.
yeah, give yourself a hug and to rub your arm or to just to comfort.
Mhm.
Does
I
it
learned
using the bear and when you have the big emotions, do you find that your emotions come out more easily?
Much easier. Yeah, much easier because I can tell her anything and she's not going to go like tell anyone else how silly I am, how ridiculous I looked when I was sobbing about
Yeah.
this stupid shoe not fitting. I mean, whatever.
Or the fact you can't find your other sock? Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
I grew up in a household where anger was not allowed. You could not be angry. My parents could be angry, but you could not be angry.
Mhm.
So anger, I always stuffed it down. It was always just this big bad. I'm a horrible person if I'm angry. Until I learned that anger is a really good way of saying something is wrong inside. And
Mhm.
it's just the very first thing, and there's always something underneath it. And so a lot of times it's like, okay, I feel anger and I kind of ride that anger a little bit. And then I sit and talk to myself, okay, what is behind this anger? Do you feel like there's an injustice? Do you feel suffering? Do you feel grief?
Betrayal.
Betrayal?
Betrayal's mine. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, so
Betrayal and then anger.
we all
Mhm.
know what is kind of like behind our anger. And,
Right.
and so then that's where I think the work happens. But I don't know. I ride anger so that I can understand what's behind it. But man, I have really pushed that anger button before and just exploded. So instead of stuffing it down now, I kind of went to the other extreme and then I had to come back to that working point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
what works for you when you're angry? What works for you now?
breathing, take a nice deep breath.
Mhm.
I have to get myself into a different environment. Like if I get angry in a room, I have to go into like the outside or I have to go someplace else, just kind of like break
Yeah.
the energy, like where I'm at.
Yeah.
And because I will eventually say something. I will say something, or my face will say something,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and yeah, and then work on it that way. But yeah.
Mm.
It's a big deal working with anger. Walking outside really makes a difference for me. Um,
Mm.
the ultimate for me with anger is to go outside and yell or to yell into a pillow. That just feels so powerful and it feels like it really lets the anger out, you know?
Get the energy of that emotion out of you. Yeah.
Yes, it really does carry the energy out. Another one we did way back in the day was beating the bed with the tennis racket. And that kind of along the line of your being able to tell your teddy bear, all the things, and she will accept it. The bed will just take it. And you can just tell that bed all the terrible things that that person did to you and how mad you are about that. And it's just gone. It takes all of that energy out. But if you're not someplace you can beat with a tennis racket legally, breathing always works too, right? A big, long, deep
I
breath.
think I huff a little bit. I think I do a lot of big, deep exhalations. I think it's almost like I throw a little tantrum as I'm trying to get outside.
Yes. Yes.
But like just getting into like nature or getting out of the one environment to a different environment usually kind of helps me shift. But if
Thanks
it's
for
kind of
telling.
long, if I find like there's a frustration or a worry or something that I can't resolve underneath it, I am pulling weeds till kingdom come, because that's my
Yeah.
way. Like I'm solving it.
Yeah.
I'm solving it. I'm pulling it out. Yeah.
Yep. I'll go out to the woods and talk to God a lot.
Mhm.
Lot of big conversation there.
Yeah.
What about feelings that are sad though? I mean, we don't
Mm.
yell when we're sad.
Yeah.
How do we, because as women, we feel things so deeply. What do we
My
do with our sad stuff?
my sad stuff is usually like um I usually got grief behind it. There's usually like a deeper wound. There's usually something like betrayal is behind my sadness, not my anger.
Yeah, and disrespect is behind my
This is
anger.
Yeah, disrespect behind my anger too.
Yes.
But usually it's I've been shamed, I've been betrayed, or I've just been deeply misunderstood or something. It's just it was behind my sadness, or even a lot of times behind my sadness is a bit of self-loathing, and so then I have to go in there and I have to like
Judgment, the
take
critic.
judgment and help and shame and help love myself. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. I really love the principle of self-coaching,
Mhm.
where you can take your current day self, in
Mhm.
my case, my 62-year-old master coaching self, and talk to the part of me who was wounded, just when she was 35, maybe. And that's finally coming out because of something that's happened. And to be able to coach her, that's something you taught me. Then you want to kind of speak to that a little bit about talking to yourself from the point of view who you are now and helping that part of you recognize.
Yeah, I literally get, because I'm such a like inward vision type person. I literally
We
like
love your imagery. We'll go with imagery.
I really imagine like my most perfect self, in the sense of like my higher self, my spiritual self, myself that has all of the abilities and the compassion and all that, not my imperfect self, but not my like perfect self. It's just like my higher self, like who
Mhm.
I feel I am as a child of God.
Yeah.
before I came
Your
here.
spiritually connected
Yeah,
and
yeah.
spiritually guided self.
That just has all the patience and love in the world and understanding. And I will just sometimes just even just sit with that part, kind of feel the anger, feel the sadness, and just sit with it and just be a buddy. Tell me about it, give it to me.
I
Let's
like to
do it
think like
together.
she's my big sister part,
Mhm.
the big
Yeah.
sister that'll put your arm around you and let you just talk.
Yeah, and if it's a younger part of myself, I like to let her kind of know that that is just wrong. What happened to
Yeah.
you just shouldn't have happened, but it did, and I'm so sorry. And then kind of help her understand, look what we're doing now, and kind of update her, you don't have to remain in that space. You can get rid of throw the tantrum if you want, and I've done that with her, and
Yeah.
or just kind of be the parent that she didn't
Mhm.
have, be like that nurturing mother figure that she didn't have, or that even just adult figure to go to that she did not have.
Yeah. That she
And
needed.
and sometimes that's enough, and so just kind of takes the edge off of it. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I have to sit there and say, okay, you can eat all the cookies you want to eat, just eat them. you know I don't eat them personally, but I'll sit there with her. I'm like, you want the donut? You have the donut. We'll sit and have a donut.
I'll get you the box of imagery donuts and you can
Yeah,
just go to
that's what
town
I
with
do.
those.
Yeah, I'm
There we
like,
go.
okay, you
There we
really
go.
want that box of crumble cookie? Well, then let's sit down and eat those. What's your favorite?
Best part about the imagery crumble cookie is they're free. You can have as many as you want.
Oh, yeah, and they don't go straight to the hips, yeah, or the belly.
That is true. That is true. And you
Mhm.
want to have with a headache after that.
But
That'll be good.
it's all on the understanding that you're meeting the need of that
That part of
part of your
yourself.
that
Yeah.
didn't get what it needed. And a lot of it is just validation. A lot of it
Yeah.
is seeing them, a lot of it is loving them and just letting them have their space to be heard.
Yeah.
Mhm. There
Yeah.
was a book, and I'm trying to remember the author and the name of the book, but she talked about her journey with her parts, her different parts. And the one part that I loved in the book is she said, yeah, sometimes I have some really angry parts or some parts that aren't serving me. And she'll say, we're going on a trip, but you're going to ride in the back seat. I mean, you're welcome
Oh,
to
I love that. Yes, I
You're
remember
welcome
that.
to come with me. You're welcome to come with me.
Yeah.
But
You're going to be in the back seat because this part of me that is supportive and loving and kind is sitting up front, and we're
yeah,
going on.
that part of me is in charge. You can be
Yes.
here, but you got to be in the back seat.
Yes. Yeah. So I just remembered as you were talking about that, Jen, I had that vision in my
I would
mind.
love to know that book. I would love to know that book.
I'll find it for you. I have it. I just can't bring the title forward. We read it a couple of years ago.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we did
Yeah.
it for book club, and I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
it was really good. I'll find it for you.
In
I
book
love
club,
it because I do believe there are no bad parts.
yeah, I know there's no bad parts.
There's just parts.
Maybe that's the name of it.
Because
No, I don't think that's the name of it, but
I'm like, I don't remember that in Dick Schwartz, No Bad Parts,
no,
but
this is a gal. It's
It
a
was
lady
a
that wrote
gal.
it.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lady.
and she's
Yeah.
wonderful. Cook, her last name is Cook. She wrote with another woman. The two of them wrote on IFS kind of stuff.
oh, the Boundaries book.
Yes, the Boundaries book. That's where it
what is
came
it
from.
called?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What is that?
Boundaries for the soul?
Boundaries
Yep,
for the
Boundaries for the Soul. That's the
Boundaries
one.
for the
And
Soul.
her last name is Cook, and her partner's name is, can you say Jason?
Is
I'm
it
trying to find it.
Allison?
It's Allison Cook and Kim, come on. And Kimberly Miller.
There you
Yes.
go. Cook and Miller. Yes, both of them wonderful therapists. They have a great website and they have all kinds of free downloadables as well. Boundaries for the Soul, Allison
Yeah.
Cook.
How
Yeah.
to turn your overwhelming thoughts and feelings into your greatest allies.
Yeah. Because it's an important part we can find when we begin to listen to and really learn from our parts, we begin to understand our talents and our strengths and our life purpose, and life begins to make more sense. Yeah, it's huge. One of the things that I have found in working with emotions, though, involves breathing. And I know everybody has different ways of taking that breath. One of my favorites is the double breath. And I was thinking about it when we were talking about anger, because for me, the double breath that actually does create a change in your brain. It tells your brain that it's safe. It's a long, slow breath, short, intense afterwards, and then a long blowout.
Mm.
And I know we've talked about that in the past, but for me, when I'm mad and I'm doing the double breath, my long blowout has a lot of force to it. And it's almost like I'm blowing out the anger. And so I'm just blowing out. And that really is a great way for me to kind of deflate the anger that I have. Jen, I know you do some breathing too. What kind of breathing techniques do you use?
Well, usually my breathing is in conjunction with hypnosis. I need to step more. I need to explore breathing more as just like a meditation, or as a as a what am I trying to say? Fight, flight, or freeze. Autonomic nervous system. Help.
Soothing. Yeah, soothing the nervous system.
There is that one that you're talking about that Andrew Huberman teaches about, the really sharp intake twice.
Yeah, like a child, right?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we talked about it last week too, like the gasp and the crying. Another person that I've learned from loves a box breath. She'll breathe 4 steps in and hold it 4 steps, and 4 steps out and hold it 4 steps. So she's creating a box and finds that very centering and soothing. Yeah, like 4 in and then hold it 4, and then 4 out and then hold it 4. And doing
which is what I do on my Headspace app that I
Oh, do tell.
That is
which by the way, the fact that you're talking about it means you're doing it.
This is true. I know what they do for their breathing, and that's it. The box breathing. Yeah. Yeah. And then also along with that, like I just had that memory of like I needed to release some stuff today. So
is that release?
Yeah, this is released by Young Living.
Love that oil.
Great oil. And then I also just needed to wake up. So I used that along with my peppermint, my doTERRA peppermint. But yeah,
I think I need to get my release out too. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Just to let things go. Yeah. Essential oils make such a huge difference. It's really, really cool.
And it's not voodoo, guys, just so you know.
Oh no, it's just plants.
It's for real.
Yeah, you can see if you look at my white boxes behind me there, those are all my herbs. I'm a nutritional herbalist by trade as well as a coach. And all of those herbs, they're just plants that grow in the yard in various places of the world. People have used them for centuries for healing and for nutrition. And that's all oils are. They're just plants. They're more concentrated, and you need to really use respect with them because some of them are really powerful, but they're just plants. Yeah. Same with homeopathy, just plants. Yeah. All come from the plants.
Yeah. Hello on my heart.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to do one last thing and then we're going to get off. Just want to go through the steps of being able to identify an emotion, because so many of us, when we first got started, and Jen, I know that you're really well acquainted with sorting out what's happening within you so you can feel the emotion, so you can give the emotion a name. So that's really where breathing comes in for me, is when I'm feeling something I don't want to feel, which is really interesting. When you start thinking about emotions, there really aren't any good or bad emotions. They just all feel different. It's what you do in relationship to that emotion that matters, what your choice is.
Look at them as moments of information.
Yes, moments of information.
Just of information. Yeah.
So let's say you're driving down the road and it's been one heck of a day, and the kids are in the back seat and everybody's making a lot of noise and you're late. And there is one walloping dose of information coming your way in the form of many different emotions. To be able to identify those emotions, the first step would be, well, this is what works for me. And you guys tell me what works for you. Where am I? Here. And when I answer here, I feel the seat where I'm sitting, and I feel the back of the chair where I'm touching the back of the chair. I would feel the steering wheel. I would feel the breath coming in and out of my body. And it brings me back to say, oh, I am here, right here. But then the next wave of panic. What time is it? Right now. It's now. I'm here and I'm now. That's what happens in my deep breath. So I'm feeling things as I'm driving down the road in my car, and I've got that breath that comes. Then what about for you guys? How do you get yourself back to where you're at least in your body enough to begin to identify your emotions? Do you do the same thing? How do you bring
I
yourself back?
I I do a breath. I do a breath, but it's what I do is I do a breath and I was like, I always ask, okay, so what's going on here? And I
So
just
you're
create,
curious. You enter into
yeah,
curiosity with it.
I'm a nosy person. Yes.
You're just curious. I love that about you.
So I just
You're
say,
not
what's
nosy.
going on here? And I just create, I almost like create space within myself. I'm like, so I could look at that emotion or that tantrum or that thought objectively or somewhat objectively. And so that's what I do. I do believe, because this was one thing in the very beginning when I started learning about emotions that kind of blew my mind. Um, I did a little like workshop with somebody, and they're like, I want you to write on a piece of paper how many emotions you felt today. And
Oh
not a
my
lot of
word.
people, I know, but listen, the average individual that doesn't study emotions can only name about 4 to 5.
Right, right.
Wow.
And so a lot
It
of
is
what,
tricky to sort them out.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and even learning how they feel and what they mean and how they are in your life. And so a lot of my understanding of emotions is I had to study them. I had to study, what does it mean to feel this, and how does that feel
Packets
in the
of
body,
information.
and learning those things. And I absolutely love Brene Brown's Anatomy of the Heart, because it's all
Oh,
about emotions, and she teaches you
so
emotions.
Yes, so helpful.
So helpful.
yeah.
And so now that I have that knowledge, then I can identify emotions better. Besides, I'm just angry. But why am I angry? What's behind the anger?
What's underneath the anger? Okay, so a deep breath and then you're curious.
Curious.
For me, it's a deep breath and then to come into this present moment, where into my body and where I am. What about for you, Jacine? What's it look like when you're in a big emotion?
That's interesting because my first thought was the big deep breath. And for me, counting, because playing the piano, I was counting, right?
Uh-huh.
That drilled in, but
Yeah, for your music.
yeah, counting. And then as I do that, but then the very next question is this really that important?
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So
Put it in perspective.
yeah,
Question it.
it was really because as you guys were talking, I'm like, what do I do? And
Yeah,
that's what I do. I take those breaths and that's
question
like,
it.
is that really that important? Yeah.
Wow.
What what does it matter? Right? Or does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it does, then let's explore it and let's get curious. But first of all, did I overreact?
Yeah. Did I just have a button push there? Okay.
Am I tired? Am I getting a headache? I'm,
Am I hungry?
Well,
yeah,
see, right
yeah,
there,
what is-
you're getting curious. You know,
right, yeah,
'cause you're asking your overreaction. Is it emotional or is it physical? I mean, so you're
Yeah.
getting curious. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, the next thing I like to do after is I locate it in my body. And for
Mm,
me, that is so helpful in identifying the emotion. Sometimes it's here in my shoulders. Sometimes it's here in my chest. Sometimes I feel it in my gut.
mhm,
Sometimes I even feel it in my feet or my low back. But
mm.
if after that breath and bringing myself into my present space, I can locate where I'm feeling it in my body. Usually I can name it after that.
Nice.
Do you guys use the find it in your body part of that at all?
I've forgotten about that. Like I'm
It
so glad.
really helps me.
Yeah, because I was doing it and then I just stopped. Yeah.
Find
So
it in your body. Your body is your best friend, man. She will do anything you need her to do. Yep.
mm,
I find that sometimes it'll be the body that will tell me first. And
mm,
I've been
So you'll
pushing.
start with tight
Yeah, I'll
shoulders.
be like, oh, I've been ignoring that. I've been pushing that away and pushing that down. So I need to
Mhm.
pay attention to
And
that.
so like, oh, what is this emotion back here?
mm.
Or my low back, quite often
I'm
lower
avoiding.
right side,
Oh,
unsupported.
Avoidance.
Yeah.
avoiding. Okay.
Hmm, hmm.
Packets of information. Our emotions are packets of information. If you take one thing away today, remember Jen's wise words. Our emotions are packets of information. They're not necessarily bad. They're not necessarily good. They feel differently in lots of situations. And honestly, I'd rather feel joy than grief, but it doesn't make grief bad. It's just a packet of information about how much I loved the person I'm missing. Right. So this week, let's just practice. Let's just practice with identifying some of those emotions and then see if, as we identify them, we don't feel a little bit more like we really are #blessed instead of wanting to burn it, you know. Next week, I won't want to burn it down. That's right.
I have a part in me that just wants to burn things down. She just gets done. She's like, just burn it. Let's just throw it on the fire. Let's just burn
it down. Burn it down.
Ooh, yeah, let's look at this first.
That's right. That's where she needs a little self-coaching. Let's just love on that part a little bit and give her a contained space. She can have her fire. Yes. Yeah. So coming up on November the 9th, a little more instruction from Jen. Want to talk a little bit about what's your word? And then Jacine, will you tell us about book club and what's coming up after that?
Yes. Yeah.
What's your word workshop is where we focus on finding from our creator a word that we can kind of have our focus for the next coming year, and get the definitions, get the synonyms, and just come ready. And if you don't, that's fine. If you don't have a word, we can help you just, discover worm, or maybe you have a bunch of different words, but what it is just an opportunity for your creator, the, Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ, to work with you, to teach you throughout the year and to guide you and to show you his hand in your life. And it's absolutely crazy.
Miraculous.
They
are miraculous.
Yes.
They really are. You have no idea when you receive your word, what will happen to you in the coming year. And it's always a growing experience. It's wonderful.
It is a big growing experience. And I like to explore my word through a vision book because I'm a visual learner. So we'll do a vision, some people do vision boards. If you want to do a vision board, that's fine. So bring a bunch of like pictures and quotes even, or your word that you can put on a board or on a vision book to help you keep that before you at all times, to help you remember that you're looking.
If you have access to an old Oprah magazine or two, they are fantastic for making vision boards out of. Just saying.
Love that.
Yeah. All kinds of words.
Yeah. And all kinds of, photos, things online if you want to. And there are some digital vision board apps. So if you would rather do it that way, that's great.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. I'm a paste and glue and stick girl, so I'll be doing that.
Yep. And I like to tear things. So I tear my pictures out instead of cutting them.
It adds an element to your boards. Your boards are gorgeous.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
And Beth actually takes and puts them as her screensaver. So she sees them all the time.
Yeah, I take a picture of it and then use it on my background for my computer all year long.
Yeah. So there's many ways to do that. So we'll go through all that as we discover why it's important. And it comes from a practice out of a book that I forgot his name. What's it called?
It's
called Your One Word.
Yep.
Mike Ashcroft, called My One Word. Yeah.
And Rachel Olson, which is going to be starting next week. It'll be our book club in preparation for
cool.
For the workshop.
That's awesome.
It goes fast. That book will go fast. And he's been doing it with he's a pastor. He's been doing it with his congregations, and it's just so cool to see their like the results and their experiences. Yeah,
it's powerful. Yeah, it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. It's on Eventbrite. You can register on Eventbrite. Just go to online events and Your One Word, or look for CMH coaching, and it'll be on both of those that you can go ahead and sign up and join us the morning of November 9th.
And I would really suggest, guys, sign up and join us. The synergy that you get from it, same thing, like when we read a book, we get something out of it. But when we come together and we have a discussion about it, someone will bring different insight and you will say, oh my gosh, I never had that thought before, but I really, really like it. And that's what it's all about when we come together and do these workshops, is that synergy that we get from one another to learn it more deeply and accept it and grow faster than we ever thought we could. We've got to we need
Because,
each other, guys.
oh, how we need each other. It's the
Yeah.
truth. We really do. We need that community and that connection in a big way.
Mhm.
So thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next week. And very soon we'll see you on November 9th for the workshop. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
I did it, I think. Did it
You said
stop?
it- Oh, there it
It's
stopped.
recording.
Yep, it stopped.